All right, delegates, we will be beginning the opening ceremony right now. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the winter edition of Munbank 2021. Now, we would like to commemorate the Secretariat members today. But before that, let me just have my speech to begin with. My name is Hafiza, and I served as the Secretary General of Munbank Winter 2021. This journey would actually not even exist if it is not because of the trust each of the Secretariat, the Executive Board members have in me. And I will not be here presenting this speech if it's not for the delegates who has entrusted the ability Munbank has as an organization and the qualities the Secretariat and the Executive Board have in producing a quality model UN conference. Personally, me and Aliana, my deputy, had worked hard in sifting through all the applicants for both Secretariat and Executive Board positions. Delegates, I can attest to you, everyone that are a part of this winter conference have a proven track record in the Model United Nations scene. The academic team, for instance, were given the trust to produce and write your study guides. This is definitely a bit different than most Model UN conferences out there. However, these academic team members all went through a rather rigorous selection process. Aliana and I wanted each of you, the delegates, to learn Model UN and to understand it. We wanted to give you the most succinct study guide, the most readable and understandable study guide, and these team members gave their 200% in doing just that. I started my journey in Munbank as a director of publicity. I came up with an idea last year where we had to produce a series called Mukbang with Munbank. It was a hit last season. We brought it back this year too. The publicity team, comprising of a video editor, picture editing officers, and officers that come up with appropriate captions for our Instagram posts. Publicity, publicizing an event, especially a virtual one, is not easy. To catch your attention, to come up with a design that stops you, to engage with you is difficult. To produce a video from scratch, to edit it, such video, to do such things is incredibly tough. But our publicity team did just that. They worked day and night producing content for you, and I am forever inspired by such dedication. The marketing team comprises of country directors and marketing officers. Country directors worked as the face of Munbank Winter 2021. We did not have this in any Munbank editions before. We had our reel getting over 3,000 views. Kudos to our country directors involved. Your hard work will not go to waste. As for marketing officers, it is not an easy job to send bulk emails. They did their best. And as for our delegate affairs team, these officers are the first focal point in producing the designs for your certificates, editing your virtual background, observing for tech errors, and all that jazz. The enthusiasm that this team has shown throughout is to be applauded. Delegates, leading a Model United Nations conference is not easy. Being a part of one is even harder, but we all did it for you. We hope, I hope, every council session that you sit through is beneficial for you and that you learn in every session. If you don't, you may ask. The Executive Board, chairpersons, rapporteurs, crisis directors, editors-in-chief will guide you. Each of them are also here as a mentor and not as a judge of a competition. It will be fun, delegates. See you in your council sessions. Now, I would like to move on to the next person who would be making a mini speech. I would like first to invite my ever so professional, my ever so inspiring, hardworking deputy, Aliana Lim. She had been a rock, been by my side, assisting each of the secretariat members and executive board along with me. Please welcome Aliana. Aliana, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Hafiza, and hi, delegates. So my name is Aliana, and I'm the Deputy Secretary General of MBMUN Winter 2021. And today I am going to tell you a story. I started as a delegate in 2019 with Harvard Model Congress Asia, Singapore. As a child who was used to quick and easy success in school, not winning anything at that conference or the next one was incredibly disheartening to me. I thought, should I just give up? Should I move on to the knitting club or the glee club? And then in the summer of 2019, I joined Munbank. Emboldened by my anonymity to speak up in session, I scored my first ever award in the international circuit. But it wasn't just the fact that the conference was online way before COVID popularized these. It was also my friendly, helpful chairs and the good-natured competition that Munbank has fostered. In many ways, Munbank shaped who I am today as a debater, and I have done my best, and so have the rest of the members of the Secretariat, to craft a similar delegate experience for you. 3 things for you to remember to do today in committee. Number 1, keep your eye on the goal, which is always, finding a solution to the issue. Number 2, be a friendly face to see a friendly face, whether these be temporary allies or lifelong collaborators. And number 3, learn from your experience, no matter if you've done 1 or 100 MUNs before. Thank you so much and enjoy the journey. Back to you, Hafiza.
All right, thank you very much, Aliana. It was very nice hearing you speak after such a long time. Now, moving on to this officer, this academic officer is such a great enthusiast. I have personally worked with her. We all, even the deputy, Aliana, had fun working with this particular officer. I would say she really reminds me of all of the officers I've worked with in the Munbank Winter Conference 2021. So I would like to invite our academic officer, Eunsul, to the floor. Are you here? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello, my name is Eunsul Kim, and I am serving as an academic officer for MBMUN Winter Edition. Expecting the best, I have signed up for MBMUN Secretariat post as an academic officer. And yes, indeed, it was a memorable journey and the acquiring of many valuable knowledges and skills. In a short duration of 2 months, the academic team has written study guides and led in chair training. My experience collaborating with my fellow officers was amazing, and furthermore, drafting study guides, I have created the UNSC Kashmir study guide. Munbank was also my first ever chairing experience. I have served as the vice chair for the G20 summit in the past Munbank edition. Immature, awkward, and shy, I entered the Zoom meet full with hesitation and full of doubt of myself. The experience was way much better than I have expected, leading to valuable connections and one of the best chairing experiences that I have till now. With an amazing experience with newly gained confidence, MBMUN has assisted me taking a major step in my MUN journey. The Secretariat has shown me kindness as well as directed me towards the right passageway whenever I got lost. This led me to a conclusion in which we must adhere to the good, not to the bad. These are dark times with arising crises not limited to COVID-19 breaches of security, climate change, and even many more. While going through these dark times, focus on the bright things like MBMUN. Remember that at the same time, you, delegates, are the good. You will create solutions to these crises and be the hope for the future. To conclude, my experience of MBMUN is always the same, the best that anyone can experience. I hope you can experience the same I have experienced in MBMUN, and I wish you the best and wish you good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure working with Eunsul. She is incredibly enthusiastic, as I've said before. So we have to move on to our honorable speaker. This particular person, I have known her for a very short period of time. However, I've learned a lot from her accomplishment. She is incredibly inspiring for me, and I believe she will inspire you. Before I invite Ayesha Gulati to the floor, I would like to speak a bit about Ayesha. Aisha will be our guest speaker for today. She graduated from International Relations with a degree in French and Hispanic Studies. With such a degree, she speaks and writes fluently in French, Spanish, and English. She has been to 36 different countries and has resided in 7 different countries in the past few years, including Hong Kong, Thailand, Qatar, and the United Kingdom. She had previously worked in the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. That is incredibly interesting to me. And also, she is the Stolen Dreams founder and the National Youth Representative of UN Women. Aisha Gulati, you have the floor. You're muted. All right.
Yeah, I'm audible now, right? Yeah, you can, everyone, yeah. Well, thank you so much for that really kind welcome, Hafiza. That's really sweet. And this was not expected. So, it, it was not very planned, but hopefully what I say today will be able to inspire all you youth change makers out there. So yes, as Hafiza said, I am a postgraduate in international relations and I have a degree in French and Hispanic studies. I did my master's at Brunel University in Uxbridge, and then I did my undergrad at Queen Mary University. So I was very, privileged to have gone to, good universities in London, and where I learned a lot. The professors were very helpful, and of course, even my fellow colleague, my fellow friends were very helpful and welcoming. So that's always good. When you go to university, you always want to find that you're in a really friendly environment. And yes, I've lived in approximately 36 different, I've traveled to approximately 36 different countries, and I've lived in 6 different countries, as Hafiza named. And what happened was, after my undergraduate degree, which I mentioned already was in French and Hispanic studies, I had the privilege to have got an internship at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. And I know it's really hard. And of course, I applied, and I was just, very lucky, I guess, to have got an interview. And then after the interview, of course, they wanted me to come and do the internship, which was roughly about 2 months. So I did it around 2017 and October, and I was there till about the end of November 2017. And of course, I love Paris, so not only was it nice to be able to work there, but also be able to visit the touristy sites over the weekend. And it was also good for me to use my language skills, and that really opened up my mind to really work in the political sphere. And that's how I met Hafiza, because I also do a lot of NGO work, which is also related to the UN. And so I met Hafiza in one of these UN, it's called United Nations Association Young Professionals, UK. And I met her there, and that's how we really became friends. And I've been telling her what I've been doing, and I think like she said, I was quite inspiring. I don't know how inspiring I am, but I hope that I can inspire all of you, because like me, like I'm really into changing the world. And I think even my internship at UNESCO really made me want to open up my mind into changing the world, which is why I did a lot of NGO, like I worked for an NGO called Words Heal the World, which is, basically being careful with your words and trying to, use the correct words in order to heal the world. So I worked for that NGO, and I also worked during my master's. I did a placement for an NGO called Humanity United for Universal Demilitarization. So that was, that really, of course, I know we can't live in a world without arms, but that also made me realize that, maybe one day we could. So that's why, like, I'm also like you, I'm really into, changing the world, making the world a better place. And this is why, I'm here today to speak to you. And yes.
All right. So I personally have a question for you, Aisha. How do you juggle? You do a lot of things. You do a lot of extracurricular activities, right? So how do you juggle that with your post-graduation? I think this will really help the young change makers who are present here today. They will learn a lot from you. It's very difficult to juggle. How do you study well and also do well in extracurricular? Could you please tell us?
Sure. Um, well, what it is was, I believe, in my opinion, organization is very important, and also having a discipline. So of course, I put a lot of focus on my master's, because master's is very tough, and when I went into it, I had no idea about international relations. I was like an alien. A lot of the things that I learned was, at the beginning, it was very tough. And, I'd had my little mini breakdowns, because, it was completely new to me. I was coming from a language background, and, entering into politics and, learning about theories and everything. But, I organized my time. And and when I had spare time, I used to do my NGO work. And luckily, like, the NGO work, there was not a lot of pressure, and it was basically on my own, when I had time. So I would tell them that, I have a deadline, so I can't work on it, but I'll do it later. So yeah, I would say, in general, to sum up what you said, I think it's all about organization and having a discipline. And that's most important. And I do encourage all of you to not just focus on your studies, but to also do a lot of extracurricular. When I was in my undergraduate, I ran a lot of societies. And in my final year, it got very stressful to the point where my friends and family were like, why are you doing all this? And I said, I'm not doing it for you guys, I'm doing it for myself, because I enjoy meeting people and I enjoy inspiring people. So if you enjoy meeting people and inspiring people, then yeah, please, because I feel like when it comes to studies, yes, having good results and having the best degree to graduate in is great, but I also believe it's important that you have a balance, which is what Hafiza was mentioning, that I did a lot of extracurricular. But I really organized my time. And when I had a deadline, I would focus on it. When I had a bit of time, I would, with my NGO work, I used to, like, with Words Heal the World, I used to sometimes interview a few important people. But luckily they would tell me what time suited them. And so it worked out for both of us.
All right, we have a lot of questions for you, Aisha. I'll begin with this one really interesting and incredibly helpful question. I think if you answer this, it will be really helpful for the participants, the delegates. So what advice do you have for getting into a top uni in the UK? This was asked by Aliana, the Deputy Secretary General. So please, Aisha.
Thank you very much, Aliana, for your question. Obviously, like, the top unis are, Cambridge, Oxford, UCL. There are others outside of London as well, like Durham. I mean, Queen Mary and Brunel are good, but Queen Mary's, I think Russell Group. Brunel isn't on the Russell Group. I mean, I would say they're not like the top unis in London, but the reason I went to Brunel specifically for my master's is because I really liked that they had the idea of having a placement, because I thought that it would be good for me to work while I was so that hopefully once I get into the job market, it'll teach me a little bit of working skills. I worked for various different firms, not just in the political sphere, but also, I've worked in a few banks and law firms, but, I just wanted that more exposure into the working environment. So this is why I chose Brunel. But my advice would be, in the applications, really be yourself and really, explain, talk a lot about your achievements, but not to the extent of bragging too much. Obviously you have to be honest, and I would say the main focus is don't worry too much about your grades. Like I remember in my A levels, I missed one of my grades, but Queen Mary, because they really liked my interview, I got in. So sometimes don't worry too much if you don't get the best of grades in your A levels. Really put a lot of effort in the personal statement, and talk a lot about yourself and your achievements and why you really want to study that particular subject. And I think that would be the best advice I can give, really. If it's hard to get into unis like Oxford and Cambridge, which is why I never tried. But if you're ambitious, why not? But obviously don't get disheartened if you don't get in, because there are other great unis in London and even outside of London. But I also think that sometimes don't worry too much about the top uni, but really go for if you're passionate about something and you feel that this particular uni has, the subject that you like, then, it doesn't have to be the Oxford and Cambridge of the world. It can be UCL, Durham, anything, Manchester. You really need to choose what you want to study first, further after your A levels, and then I think passion is the key. Why I really enjoyed my master's is I really was passionate about it. Even during my dissertation, I used to enjoy writing it, even though a lot of my friends used to complain, because I was just very passionate about what I was writing about. And that's, I would say, passion and enthusiasm is key here.
All right, so we have two similar questions for you from Aliana again and Jay, one of the delegates here. So basically, they are asking about your experience working at UNESCO. What do you exactly do for UNESCO at UNESCO? Please, Aisha.
Sure. Thank you again, Aliana and Jay, for your questions. I mean, very good questions here, which is really good. Well, when I was at UNESCO, so I worked at this delegation of Palau, and Palau is like a small, tiny island in, the South Pacific. And there were not many, there was me and a few other interns, and luckily we were all the same age. So, we were able to understand each other. And I thought it was a great experience because, UNESCO is multicultural, so it allowed me to use my languages and, of course, my communication and interpersonal skills. Like I remember organizing an event for the delegates of the 195 countries that form part of UNESCO, and I was using my Spanish, my French, so it was really good, and personally, I also like doing my master's, I always like pushing myself. So I used to attend all the events in the evening, even if I was shattered from work, because I really just wanted to meet as many people and learn from them. Because I always feel that, when you talk to people a lot older than you, have more experience, then, you actually learn from them. And, I would ask them questions, and and the events were very well organized. And I also sometimes used to work late. So I always liked pushing myself. But in general, I think my experience with working at UNESCO was great. I would say it was an unforgettable experience for me.
All right, so last question. Let's see. We have a few more questions. This is not your last question. So this question is from our academic officer, Eunsul. What path do you want to continue to pursue in the future, Aisha?
Sure. Thank you, Eunsul, for your question. I still want to work in, the political sphere, and perhaps, work for, things like maybe the House of Commons, civil service. Yeah, because I believe that politics, every day something is changing, and it's just so interesting to see that, for example, when we look at COVID, none of us expected that, but it just shows that anything can happen in politics, and you have to be really prepared as well. So and I'm just fascinated by what goes on in the world, even though a lot of it is very sad, what's happening in Afghanistan and other parts of the world. But it's just really, interesting to see, what different prime ministers react to things, especially with COVID. I mean, I can speak for the UK government. We aren't maybe the best, but when you look at other countries like France and Germany, you can see that they were very well prepared. So it's also good to really have an open eye and see how every country reacts to different adversities and catastrophes.
All right, this is a good question from Venegas. How do you get to work with the UNESCO, Aisha?
Well, for me, personally, I just, applied and, on the website. And I guess, with my achievements and I guess the fact that I also, spoke French and Spanish, I think that really inspired them. I don't know like exactly how I can answer, like how, because I'm not an expert of how to get into, any UN entity, but I would just say, apply as much as you can, and, just try and like, same with the university applications, be honest, try and be yourself. And, don't be scared to take risks, go for it. If that's where you want to work in the future, go for it, face your fears. That's what I would say.
Okay, I believe this should be the last question. We kept getting loads of questions. We need to wrap it up quickly. So this will be the last question. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, don't worry.
All right. We have so many going on. So, all right, let's just have this one.
What we could do is, because there's, if you want, like I could give my email if there's not time, and then if anyone would like to email me, feel free, and I'm more than happy to even have a Zoom chat with you, and talk more about my experiences. So, because I understand that there's a limited of time. So, would you be happy for me, Hafiza, to give my email address?
Definitely, and also give your socials down there in the chat box.
Sure, I'll do that now. Yeah.
Okay, I'll pick the best one so far. Okay, this is a good one, and also it will be helpful for the delegates, the participants, the executive board, the secretariat as well. So this is from Jay again. You mentioned your languages as being something that helped your application. What other qualities and achievements do you feel had a good impact on getting the internship?
Sorry, I'm just going to read the question again. Yes, I believe that, and thank you, Jay, for this very interesting question. Of course, because UNESCO is multicultural, yes, my language has helped. I think the other qualities and achievements was probably the fact that, I've traveled to 36 different countries. I lived in different countries. So, it's kind of given me a wide outlook into different cultures and understanding. I've also moved, about 6-7 schools, and for me that's not an issue, because like I said earlier, I like meeting people, I like talking. So I would say maybe just me having also a very good cultural background helped a lot. Yeah, and I guess all my different internships, like I said earlier, I worked in law firms, I worked in, art firms, I worked in banks. So, because I have a different, because I worked in different work environments, and I think for them it showed to them that I'm very flexible and I can work anywhere.
All right, Aisha, thank you so much for your time, for your kindness, for sharing with us your experience. That was incredibly sweet of you. I invited you yesterday and I'm so glad you could make it. I've trusted in you as a friend, although we just met, honestly. We're not really, we literally just met a couple of months ago, but you've always been someone that I could trust, someone that actually inspired me. So thank you so much, Aisha. Thank you.